Welcome to another Mythril video. Today we'll be explaining Lord Rhyolith. When you first encounter this fight, Lord Rhyolith awakens encrusted in a thick coat of obsidian armour, which will reduce all damage he takes by 80%. Lord Rhyolith's obsidian armour is reduced by 10% every time he steps onto an active volcano, which is very important, as I'll explain in a minute. When starting this fight, the melee DPS will run straight to Lord Rhyolith, while the tank and the range DPS will run off to the sides. Mark each leg with an X and a skull, as this will determine which target to do when you get called out. When hitting a target, it will move either right or left depending on the leg you shoot. This is how you move the boss around, while avoiding the edge of the plateau. The range will sit onto the side of the plateau with the tank, trying to pick up the fragments or the sparks of Rhyolith that he spawns. The range then also need to kill these adds as soon as possible, and help on the legs that the melee calls. Lord Rhyolith ignites a volcano, causing it to inflict 12,000 fire damage to 3 players every 2 seconds. When struck, the player takes 5% additional fire damage for 15 seconds. This effect stacks up to 20 times. This is why it is important for the melee to get Lord Rhyolith to smash a volcano as soon as possible. Lord Rhyolith also does a concussive stomp, which he will smash the ground, inflicting 35k fire damage to all players and knocking away targets within 0 yards. Each stomp creates 2 to 3 volcanoes. Not all volcanoes will be active. Another important thing to know about Lord Rhyolith: once he's destroyed an active volcano, he will leave a crater on the ground, which will occasionally cause streams of lava to flow from the crater. The moving streams of lava will inflict 75,000 fire damage to any player in its path. After 10 seconds, the stream of lava erupts, inflicting 150,000 fire damage to any player standing within a lava stream. This is what we call lines. It is essential that a DPS or a tank calls out lines every time this happens, so people can avoid it without taking damage. It is also essential that you do not allow a Lord Rhyolith to reach the edge of his plateau, because if he drinks his liquid magma, he will inflict 35,000 fire damage every second on all players for 4 seconds. This would usually lead to a raid wipe. The other important thing is Lord Rhyolith releases a jet of cinders, inflicting 15,000 fire damage to players within 7 yards, and creates either 5 fragments of Rhyolith or 1 spark of Rhyolith. The tank needs to then pull these adds off to the side away from the melee DPS. A hunter's MD will be good on these adds, as well as the AoE from all range need to burn these adds down as soon as possible. The spark of Rhyolith, however, does 8,500 fire damage to all players within 12 yards of this, so you need to stay out of those yards as much as possible apart from the tank. At 25%, his obsidian armor shatters.
There he
becomes
is. Oh, get him.
Or ignores players. He also
Stack
does
on the
something called
totems.
Emulation, which will inflict 8,000 fire damage to all players every second. This is a good time to pop all your cooldowns, Zerg and Loot. This is Salty, and I hope you've enjoyed another video. Thank you.
Are you serious? That was so easy. You record.
What? Do we ever have trouble?
At 25%, his obsidian armor shatters. He becomes attackable and no longer ignores players. He also does something called Immolation, which will inflict 8,000 fire damage to all players every second. This is a good time to pop all your cooldowns, Zerg, and win. This is Salty, and I hope you enjoyed another Mythril video. Thank you.